right, can you believe it? We are already at example number 6, verifying inverse functions. About to clear off this lesson. It's probably only been like a half an hour. All right, so let's get to it. The formula for the volume of a cylinder with a height of 5 inches is V equals 5 pi r squared. Pi r squared for the area of the circle, multiplied by 5. We're drawing that area down through a height of 5 inches to get our volume. Okay, determine whether r equals the square root of v over 5 pi is the inverse of the original function. Okay, well, the way we do that is we do our compositions, v of r and r of v. Well, v is 5 pi r squared. Okay, our variable is r, so we're going to replace our variable with the other function. So 5 pi, then we're going to put a square root of v over 5 pi in here. Squared, because it was our variable squared. Okay, when we square that, the square root sign goes away. The 5 pi's cancel out. And we are left with v. Okay, we'll come back to the meaning of that in a moment. Our composition of the other one. Okay, if our r is this function and our variable this time is the v, we'll replace the v with our other function, 5 pi r squared. We get 5 pi r squared over 5 pi. Those cancel out, gives you the r squared. Square root of r squared is just r. Okay, now we want to keep in mind that what we're generally doing is we're saying the inverse of the function needs to just equal that input. Okay, so in this case, that's what we got. We got v, what's the best way to say this? R of v equaled v. So the identity is not necessarily always x, because we're not necessarily always using x as a variable. If the variable we were using was v on the inside, then the inverse function applied to our other function should just give us an output of the variable by itself. Okay, so we just get v. When we do it the opposite way, we get the other variable that we're working with. We get r. Okay, so those look good. Those look like they are inverses of each other. Yes, r equals square root of v over 5 pi is indeed the inverse of v equals 5 pi r squared. All right, you've done it. You have now learned about inverses. This is a good concept because in general in math, you always want to know how to get yourself out of any situation you get yourself into. So understanding that addition and subtraction are inverse relations, multiplication and division are inverse relations, and now to kind of just generalize that concept out into the rest of math world, we can say that functions themselves can have inverse relations. If a function takes an input and gives us an output, the inverse relationship should do the opposite and bring us back to where we started. We'll take that output and we'll put it into our inverse function, and it'll give us our original input back. Okay, we'll move forwards and backwards through these functions that we're using. All right, well, thank you for sticking it out through this short little lesson, and good luck with the rest of your week.